Alright, y'all, it's that time of the year again. Let's get into my predictions for the 2026 Grammy Award nominations. Y'all ready? Let's go.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Bright here, the R&B kid, and I'm back again with another video for y'all. I know I've been gone for a minute, but I'm back with a jump off. No, I know I've been gone for a minute, but I had to come back with my video that I do every year where I break down my predictions for the Grammy nominations. I watch it every year, and y'all love that for me, so I had to do it again this year. So the 2026 Grammys, the nominations will be coming out in about a week or two on November 7th. And the Grammys will be happening, I think, on February 1st, 2026. So as a reminder, the eligibility window for the 2026 Grammys was from like September 1st of 2024 through August 30th of 2025. So anything that came out before then or after then is not a contention unless there's like some type of technicality, which barely happens. So I'm excited to see what happens for this year's Grammys. I'm not necessarily that excited for the Grammys in general because I wouldn't say 2025 has been like a weak year for music. I think it started out pretty weak, but it really has ramped up as the year's gone on. But I just think this is a really random year for music in terms of like, you know, a lot of our mainstream A-level artists that usually would have been, you know, racking up hit after hit and, you know, just having blockbuster moment after blockbuster moment. This has been a really weird year in music where a lot of our mainstream top stars have either been absent or they've been here, but they've not seen the success that they've had in previous years. We've had a lot of people, like a lot of new artists and, you know, lower level artists come up and have really big random moments. So it's been a really weird year for music, not a bad year, but it's a really weird year. So I'm not exactly sure how that would translate to the Grammys. So I think this is kind of exciting year just to see how in a year where there's so many categories and races that are really wide open, I'm looking forward to seeing how things play out. But at the same time, we will not have known if the way things will play out would have been as consistent as they would have been in the past, because one interesting thing about this year and moving forward is that starting this year, they randomized the alphabetical order of the ballot voting in the system, which is, I think, a really cool thing that kind of levels the playing field of a lot of people who used to have advantages with, you know, getting votes in past years because they were, you know, at the top of the line when it came to the alphabetical order and where they were in their category, whether it was from their artist name or for their song or album name. So with that kind of going out the window this year and it being a randomized order of alphabetical order of, you know, where you're placed in your ballot for your category, I think this is a year where we're going to see a lot more, you know, a lot more nominations happening that are kind of based off of passion picks or, you know, just people who have a lot of passion from their colleagues in the industry, which is a good thing. But I think we're going to see a lot of random nominations in some places, which will be hopefully fun and really good to see. But also there's a risk of a lot of random songs and albums that maybe the general population we didn't love like that, but maybe industry folks love, so they gave it that love for that category. We might see some of that happening this year. So I think we're going to see a lot of good and bad for the Grammys, which happens every year. But I think there's going to be a lot of really random things that happen this year, but also really, hopefully, a lot of cool things that are deserved and we didn't see coming, but that make total sense and are deserved. So I'm looking forward to seeing how things play out in this very interesting year. So I do want to commend the Grammys as the years go on for trying to make things more fair and trying to make things more transparent. But as we know, the Grammys are tricky because it's just one big popularity contest and it's a very big political game at the end of the day, and we all know that. But as like I said every year, I care about the Grammys not so much for the pomp and circumstance of it all, but I care about it more so for the conversation that it brings up about music, what we all enjoyed every year, what was the best, you know, which is always a subjective thing to talk about. It's never objective, but I think it brings up a good conversation. I also think it's important for music history for us to be able to have the Grammys every year as the quote-unquote standard of excellence, which is, it's not always that, but it's the, you know, it's one of the top things we have. So it's to me, it's always important for us to not be fully engaged to the point where we act as it's the barometer of excellence, but to be engaged in a way where we are letting it spur the conversation every year, which I think is important for music and music for, you know, for all of us music lovers. So let me stop rambling. Let's get into it. As always, like every year, I'm going to go into, you know, my predictions for the categories that I care about. I'll give you guys my final picks and some alternatives for each category. And then at the end of the video, I'll just kind of go into some random thoughts on the submissions this year. Other categories I'm not going to go into in depth, but that I have some thoughts on who might get nominated in those categories, and just kind of round it out like that. And as a reminder, y'all, please go support and join my Patreon. The link is down below in the description. On my Patreon, you'll get, all my exclusive videos, like my uncut, unedited reaction videos, and this other exclusive content that I won't have on my regular YouTube channel. You can go check it out on my Patreon, okay? So it's only $3 a month. If you like my vibes, like my energy, there's definitely more where that came from. So go support, and I really appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. So yeah, man, without further ado, here are my predictions for the 2026 Grammy nominations. I'm so excited to present them to y'all. Are y'all ready? Let's go. So first up, we have Record of the Year, one of the biggest categories every year, like we all know. So for my picks for Record of the Year, I have Apata by Rosé and Bruno Mars, Luther by Kendrick Lamar and SZA, DtMF or Debí Tirar Más Fotos by Bad Bunny, Abracadabra by Lady Gaga, Ordinary by Alex Warren, Wildflower by Billie Eilish, Anxiety by Doechii, and Manchild by Sabrina Carpenter. So I definitely feel good about these final 8 songs here in Record of the Year. No one is safe, everyone's vulnerable. To me, the only locks feel like Luther, maybe Apata, and probably Ordinary. But everyone else, everyone's vulnerable, but I feel good about this group for sure. Other alternatives in Record of the Year, we have a lot. Messy by Lola Young, one of the biggest songs of the year by New Voice and pop alternative music. I could definitely see her, showing up here. Love Me Not by Raven Lenae, again, one of the biggest songs by New Voice in music. We all love this song, one of the biggest songs of the year. I could definitely see her making a play. It was in my final 8 for a while. I took her out at the last minute, but I could definitely see her being here for sure. Timeless by The Weeknd and Playboi Carti, a really big song this year. I could see it happening. All My Love by Coldplay. I could definitely see Coldplay making a surprise run for the final 8 here. That's So True by Gracie Abrams. I don't love this song at all, and it kind of did peak early in the year, so I think it might be forgotten at this point by a lot of voters, but it could also happen because it's one of the biggest pop songs of the year, so why not? Never Too Late by Elton John and Brandi Carlile. 2 acclaimed Grammy darlings, so why not? It could definitely happen, even though it wasn't like a smash hit. Defying Gravity by Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. This is just from the Wicked soundtrack, so I definitely think it'll be hard, road to get to the Record of the Year, but it could happen. It's a beloved song, beloved classic song, so the performance could also get some love here. It could. Back to Friends by Somber, one of the biggest songs of the year, so I could definitely see it making a play in this category. Sports Car by Tate McRae. I love this song. I don't know if it has the quality enough to be in this category compared to other past nominations in Record of the Year, but it's a banger and one of the biggest pop songs of the year, so why not? End of the World by Miley Cyrus. This song definitely was not in line with like a lot of her other past hits in terms of its commercial success, but it is a beloved song. It's a really good, well executed, well performed song, so I could see it making a play as a passion pick here for sure. Golden off the K-pop Demon Hunter soundtrack by Huntrix. I could definitely see making a play for Record of the Year. I had it in my final 8 for a while, but I took it out as well for some other songs in my final list, but I could definitely see Golden making a play for sure, one of the big songs of the year, so why not? Daisies by Justin Bieber. I doubt it'll happen, but it could also have a shot as well. It's Justin Bieber and it's a good song, so why not? The Subway by Chaperone. This song kind of came and went, but it's a really well made and well performed song that really was beloved this year, so I could definitely see it making a play for Record of the Year, but I think it'll be hard to get there, but it could happen. And lastly, Mutt by Leon Thomas, the live version from NPR's Tiny Desk. I could see it happening, one of the biggest R&B songs of the year, so I could see it filling that R&B slot for sure. So those are my final picks and alternatives for Record of the Year. All right, now we're on to Song of the Year. And as a reminder, Song of the Year is the category that's more focused on songwriting compared to the vocal performance and the production, which is more so Record of the Year. So for my final picks in Song of the Year, I have Never Too Late by Elton John and Brandi Carlile, Luther by Kendrick Lamar and SZA, Abracadabra by Lady Gaga, Ordinary by Alex Warren, Wildflower by Billie Eilish, Manchild by Sabrina Carpenter, Golden by Huntrix, also known as EJ, Audra Nuna, and Ray Ami from K-pop Demon Hunters, and The Subway by Chaperone. So this category also to me feels very wide open. I feel like no one is like a lock here. Everyone's vulnerable, but I do feel good about a lot of these songs making it to Song of the Year for sure. So we'll see what happens. But other alternatives I have for Song of the Year, again, Messy by Lola Young, a really well-written song that I would be rooting for in this category because I think it deserves the nomination. But It kind of has came and went at this point, so I don't think it'll get enough votes to muster the nomination, but it's a great record, well written. Love Me Not by Raven Lenae. I'd rather root for this song more so in Record of the Year, but it has a shot in Song of the Year as well. But I don't know if it'll get enough votes, but it could happen. All My Love by Coldplay, Coldplay's Beloved, it could happen. Apata by Rose and Bruno Mars. I think the song is more so of a better shot for Record of the Year, but it's also possible for it to show up in Song of the Year, although I wouldn't root for it in Song of the Year, but it could happen. That's So True by Gracie Abrams, again, a really well-written song that kind of came and went at this point, but, it can get enough votes. Good News by Shabuzi. This is another song that I think has a shot in Song of the Year. It's a really well-written song with a really great message, really great lyrics, really inspirational, really relatable. So I could see it being a passion pick for this category. Back to Friends by Somber. Again, one of the biggest songs of the year. Really well-written song, so I could see it having a shot here. DtMF by Bad Bunny. Because of the language barrier for this song, I do think it has a harder road to getting to Song of the Year. Although, for people who know what the song is talking about, it's a really beautiful song with a really beautiful message. But I think it has a better shot in Record of the Year, but it definitely has a shot for Song of the Year as well. And Anxiety by Doechii, I think a well-written song with a really strong and very, very of the moment message. I could see it getting a nomination here. If You Hadn't Been There by Dolly Parton. I've heard a lot about this song being a passion pick this year, so I can see that happening, especially with everything happening with Dolly Parton and her, her health status and all that. I could see her getting love in this category with that song. End of the World by Miley Cyrus, again, why not? Daisies by Justin Bieber. Again, not that strong of a song lyrically, but it's a bop and we all love it, so it has a shot, why not? And lastly, Lean on My Love by Jon Batiste and Andra Day. I can see this being a sleeper pick in this category. Really beautiful song from a beautiful project, and Jon Batiste and Andra Day are both Grammy darlings, so I can see it happening for sure. So those are my final picks and alternatives for Song of the Year. Let me know what y'all think down below. All right, y'all, now we're on to Album of the Year, pretty much the biggest category every year, as we all know. For Album of the Year, my final 8 picks, I have Chromacopia by Tyler, the Creator, GNX by Kendrick Lamar, Debí Tirar Más Fotos by Bad Bunny, Hurry Up Tomorrow by The Weeknd, Mayhem by Lady Gaga, Who Believes in Angels by Elton John and Brandi Carlile, Big Money by Jon Batiste, and Man's Best Friend by Sabrina Carpenter. So this category to me is also wide open, but I do feel good about this final 8 right here. To me, the only locks feel like GNX and probably Debí Tirar Más Fotos, and then maybe Mayhem and Man's Best Friend for the pop side as well. But this category is wide open. And I also picked Jon Batiste's Big Money as like the passion pick for this category. I feel like he definitely, he's a Grammy darling. He won Album of the Year a couple years ago. And he also he got the nomination again like 2 years ago, I think. So I could see him getting another nomination with his great album. So why not? Other alternatives for this category, we have Mutt by Leon Thomas. I can see Mutt kind of filling in the R&B slot, which is kind of missing in my final picks this year, which is not surprising. But if we were to have an R&B album, I could see it being Leon Thomas's Mutt. Also, Moon Music by Coldplay. Coldplay are Grammy darlings, and they showed up a couple years ago with one of their last projects, so I can see it happening again. Portrait by Samara Joy. We love her down. She won Best New Artist a couple years ago, and she's pretty much one of the most beloved artists in jazz music in this generation, so I can see her getting a nomination for this amazing project. Although I doubt it, but it's possible. Eusexua by FKA Twigs, an album that is really beloved in certain spaces, in the dance, alternative, electronic spaces, so I could see her pulling enough votes to get a nomination here. So Close to What by Tate McRae, I could see it happening for the pop side as well. It could be a sleeper pick. Sable Fable by Bon Iver, I could see that. Something Beautiful by Miley Cyrus. I really do think her album won't really make a splash in this Grammy cycle, but it definitely has a shot, as it can be, seen as like her magnum opus, even though it didn't do what a lot of her past albums did, K-pop Demon Hunters, the soundtrack. I definitely had this in my final 8 for a while, but I took it out for some other picks, but I have a hard time seeing this getting to Album of the Year, but it definitely is possible because it's an album that's chock full of some of the biggest hits of the year. So many hits to name. So even though it's attached to a movie and it's like a K-pop movie and it's an animated movie, so I don't know if it'll be taken seriously enough to be an Album of the Year, but commercially on paper, it should be in the final group of picks. So we'll see how it plays out, but it definitely has a shot. I Quit by Haim. Haim, they're Grammy darlings. I can see them getting in as well with their project. Virgin by Lorde. which is an album that, in my opinion, feels like it kind of came and went, but Lord is beloved in the musical community, and this album was acclaimed, so I could see her being a passion pick for this category. Swag by Justin Bieber. This album was cool. I would hate for it to get nominated because it wasn't that great, in my opinion. It has some cool songs on it, but in my opinion, would not deserve to be here. But he's Justin Bieber, and the album really did, it really was a moment this year, so I could see it happening, even though it shouldn't be nominated, in my opinion. Let God Sort 'Em Out, an album that also dropped this same week that should be nominated here, in my opinion, but it probably won't, but it has a shot. Clips did the thing on this album, so I would love to see it get nominated, but it probably won't. Up against, Tyler and Kendrick for the rap vote, so we'll see what happens. And lastly, A Matter of Time by Laufey, which I can see also kind of filling in like the traditional pop jazz lane as well. So those are my final picks and alternatives for Album of the Year. Let me know what y'all think down below. Okay, y'all, on to one of the most exciting categories every year, and one of my favorites that I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out this year, and that's Best New Artist. So for Best New Artist, in my final picks, I have Alex Warren, Big X The Plug, Leon Thomas, Lola Young, Olivia Dean, Raven Lenae, Somber, and the Marias. So I feel like I want to say at least 5 to 6 of these artists will be in the final group. I really do feel good about my listing right here. I really do. To me, the only locks feel like probably Olivia Dean. I feel like she's got it on lock. I would be shocked if she missed. Same thing with Leon Thomas and Lola Young and Alex Warren. I would be surprised if those artists missed. They feel like the locks to me. I definitely feel like, and also I want to say Somber is pretty much a lock too. I think Somber is pretty locked in. The Marias are definitely vulnerable, but I feel good about them. And Raven Lenae is definitely vulnerable, but I feel good about her for sure. And Big X The Plug was my passion pick. I feel like every year there's at least one person who a lot of people are not probably predicting, but ends up being like a passion pick. And I realized that we didn't really have a lot of rap representation in this final lineup, and a lot of other people don't. And I feel like we usually always have at least one rap artist in the nomination. So I feel like, to me, Big X The Plug feels like that guy this year. And because I feel he'll get a lot of nominations in other categories, I feel like it makes sense that he'll get Best New Artist as well. I could be wrong, but I feel good about that prediction. So let's see what happens. Other alternatives for Best New Artist, we have a lot. Addison Rae, who a lot of people have predicted. I don't think she'll make it in the final, the final group. I know she came off of TikTok. She's a TikTok star that became an artist, and her music is cool from what I've heard of it. I don't think she'll get the nomination, but she definitely has a shot. Ella Langley, I can see her happening. Ethel Cain, I don't know much about this artist, but I've heard a lot, about her, I think. Dijon, again, I don't know much about him, but he's been kind of coming up working with Justin Bieber, and his own music is really beloved as well, so I could see him happening. Djo or DJL, I don't know how you say his name, but he's one of the actors from Stranger Things. His music has kind of been making waves these past couple years, so I can see him making it in. Flo, I Love My Girls Down. They're a new upcoming R&B girl group from the UK that is still trying to make a splash commercially, but musically, I love their music, and I just think they're a great new entity in the musical community. So I would love for them to get the nomination. They have a shot. I don't think they'll get it, but they have a shot. Gigi Perez, I've heard a lot about her and her song Sailor Song. Jessie Murph, she's had been a big name that's come up this year with her album and her successful song Blue Strip, so I can see her happening. Cat's Eye, they made a moment with Gabriella, and they have a really cool story with how they got were formed, so I can see them happening. Mariah the Scientist, I doubt she'll make it in, but she had a really good debut year of really becoming a big name in music, so I could see her having a nomination as well. Megan Maroney, she's been vying for a nomination for a while now for that country slot. I could definitely see her making the final group. Definitely won't be surprised if she makes the final 8. MJ Lenderman, I've heard a lot about this artist. Miles Smith, he's been doing his thing for a couple years now with some hits under his name, Stargazing, some other ones. I could see him being a passion pick. Pink Pantheress, who I really don't think will make it, but a lot of people have her predicted as well, which I understand. She's been making waves these past couple years, so I could see her being one of the final 8. Renee Rapp, I love her down. I don't think she'll make it in. She's been trying for a couple years. I don't think she'll make it in, but she's a great artist with a lot of great potential, so I could see her being a passion pick in the pop world as well. Role Model, I don't know much about this artist, but I've heard a lot about them, so we'll see what happens. They could definitely have a shot. And lastly, Zach Top, who I believe is more of in that country Americana slot, so I could definitely see him making a play as well. I've heard a lot about him as well. So those are my final picks and alternatives and Best New Artist. I can't wait to see who gets nominated. Who do you think is getting into the final 8? And just quickly, y'all, I'm not gonna go through, producer of the year and songwriter of the year in depth, but just some quick thoughts I have on these categories, which I feel like obviously I don't have the best pulse on, but I'll try my best. Some names I think could show up in producer of the year, definitely Andrew Watt, Carter Lang I think could show up, Circuit. He's been doing this thing this year. Jack Antonoff is always a surefire bet for nomination. He's one of the biggest producers of our time. John Batiste, I can see him making a play here. Pharrell as well, he had a great year with the Clips album. I could see him making a play here. And Soundwave, who did his thing with a lot of different projects this year, especially the Kendrick Lamar project. And for Songwriter of the Year, there's a lot of names I'm probably missing, but a few names I think could make a play. Amy Allen, again, who just won this category last year, one of our best songwriters of our time. Julia Michaels, I could see making a play as well, and Somber. So those are just a few names I think show up at Songwriter of the Year. Again, I don't have the best pulse on these categories, but those are just some names I'm thinking about. But let me know who y'all think could make it into Producer of the Year and Songwriter of the Year, which have now joined the general categories. All right, y'all, now we're on to the pop category, so let's get into it. First up, we have Best Pop Solo Performance. So for Best Pop Solo Performance, in my final 5, I have Ordinary by Alex Warren, Wildflower by Billie Eilish, Manchild by Sabrina Carpenter, Daisies by Justin Bieber, and Love Me Not by Raven Lenae. So I feel really good about this final 5. To me, they all feel really good. The only one that's definitely vulnerable, obviously, is definitely Love Me Not by Raven Lenae, who is my passion pick for this category. I think she'll have a hard road getting the nomination, but to me, it makes sense that she will get this nomination, miss out in the general categories, but get this nomination here. Since she has one of the biggest and most beloved pop R&B songs of the year, I can see her getting in as like that 5th slot. Other alternatives I have for Best Pop Solo Performance, we have a lot here because this is a pretty good year for pop songs that made waves and were really good quality. So we have a lot of options that it could be alternatives. We have Messy by Lola Young, one of the biggest pop songs of the year, really well done song. Bad Dreams by Teddy Swims, another really good song in the run of hits that Teddy Swims has been having these past few years. Disease by Lady Gaga, which really did come and go for her compared to Abracadabra and Die With A Smile, but I could see it getting some love here. That's So True by Gracie Abrams. If it misses the general categories, I could see maybe getting a nomination here, but I doubt it. BMF by SZA, love this song. I would love for it to get a nomination. I doubt it. It didn't have a video. It didn't really. I feel like this song was like a sleeper hit throughout the year, so I don't think that'll muster up a nomination. But it's a song that I think we all know and love. I don't think we get the nomination, but really good song. That would deserve it. Back to Friends by Somber, one of the biggest songs of the year, like I said, great record. Sports Car by Tate McRae. I definitely consider her in my final 5. I think she has a shot, especially if she doesn't get any of her other nominations that I have her predicted for. This could be her nomination, but I doubt it, but I would love for it to happen. Cry For Me by The Weeknd. Great song. I could see it happening. Twilight Zone by Ariana Grande. Not one of her biggest songs, and it really didn't define this year, but it could happen. Blue Strips by Jesse Murph. Again, this kind of peaked early in the year, so a lot of people might have forgot about it by the time we had voting, but I could see it happening. Mystical Magical by Benson Boone, a really cute song that a lot of us love. I doubt it making the final 5 because it didn't, it was kind of a moderate hit, but a really good song. Ring 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 by Tyler Creator. Again, another moderate hit that's been doing this thing this year. Not really a typical pop song, so I think it'll struggle to get the nomination here, but it was submitted here, so it could happen. Subway by Chappell Roan. Again, a song that's really well made, really well done. Kind of came and went, but a really good song, so it could get love here. And lastly, Jealous Type by Doja Cat, which kind of has flopped for Doja standards, but it's a really good song. It's a really cute bop. So I could see it happening, especially since it's more fresher in mind with it being released in August. So next up, we have Best Pop Duo / Group Performance. This to me is one of the most interesting categories this year because it's kind of dry and kind of wide open, which can make things very exciting, or it can mean that a lot of whack songs will get in, which has happened recently. So let's see what happens. But in my final picks, I have Apata by Rosé and Bruno Mars, All My Love by Coldplay, Defying Gravity by Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, 30 for 30 by SZA and Kendrick Lamar, and Golden by Huntrix, also known as EJ, Aljanuna, and Ray Ami from the K-pop Demon Hunter soundtrack. So I feel good about these final 5. I feel like to me the only locks feel like Apata and Golden. I feel good about All My Love, Defying Gravity, and 30 for 30 being here, but those are all vulnerable. We'll see what happens. But I'm rooting for 30 for 30. Defying Gravity, I don't really care, but I think it'll definitely get the nomination from all the Wicked love. And Coldplay is Coldplay, so it'll probably get in, but we'll see. They've missed before. So alternatives I have for this category: Who Believes in Angels by Elton John and Brandy Carlisle. I could definitely see it getting in here, especially if it gets love in the general field. Cold Heart Live by Dua Lipa and Elton John. This song is kind of a couple years after its successful time, but it can get like a Afterglow nomination. Why not? Born Again by Lisa, Doja Cat, and Ray, which is a song that definitely came and went, but it's a really cute song from a lot of beloved artists of our time, so I could see it getting a nomination for these three ladies. Please, Please, Please by Sabrina Carpenter and Dolly Parton. This could be like another Afterglow nomination for Sabrina Carpenter from the Short and Sweet era. And just, again, love for Dolly Parton as well. I could see both of these ladies getting the nomination together. That'd be really cute. Even though Please 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 got nominated for Song of the Year last year, so it might feel like a wasteful nomination, but why not? Extra L or Extra Large by Jenny and Doechii. Cute song. I love it. I love it to get nominated. Probably won't, but it has a shot. Ojos Tristes by Selena Gomez, Benny Blanco, and the Marias. Highlight off of their album, so I can see it getting nominated. Love Me to Heaven by Jonas Brothers. Again, definitely flopped. It came and went, but Jonas Brothers are a beloved group, so it could happen. Bloodline by Alex Warren and Jelly Roll, two of our top artists of our time. And the song is cool, so I can see it happening. Suzanne by Ray and Mark Ronson. This song didn't really make a commercial splash, but it's a really well performed and executed song by two beloved entities in the musical community, so it could happen. And lastly, Gabriella by Cat's Eye, a new upcoming group that has a really cute song, so I could see them being like kind of like a sleeper pick in this category. So let's see what happens. All right, next up we have Best Dance Pop Recording. I'm really looking forward to seeing what will happen in this category. I definitely think the lock for the nomination and the win is Abracadabra, but I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of the category shapes up. So for my final picks in this category, I have Abracadabra by Lady Gaga, No Broke Boys by Tinashe and Disco Lines, Illegal by Pink Panthers, Just Keep Watching by Tate McRae, and Midnight Sun by Zara Larsson. So obviously I feel like Abracadabra is the lock here. I also feel really good about No Broke Boys, Illegal, and Just Keep Watching for sure. Especially Just Keep Watching. I feel like those are all sure bets for a nomination. Midnight Sun is definitely like, it was kind of my passion pick. It wasn't a huge commercial successful song this year, but I feel like it's a song that like a lot of pop dance lovers really adored this year, and it's a really good song that would deserve the nomination. And I think, in my opinion, Zara Larsson is one of the best pop artists in the world who is so overlooked and underrated. And I think she's kind of been overdue for love at this level with the Grammy nomination. So I hope that this is finally her moment to break through the conversation. But we'll see what happens. This is kind of my hope diction. I think it will make sense if she does get the nomination because she would deserve it. Other alternatives for this category, we have a lot. We have Don't Lie by the Chainsmokers and Kim Petras. Talk Talk, the remix by Charlie XCX and Troye Sivan. I could definitely see this happening for sure. Charlie just won this category last year, so why not? Forever Young by David Guetta, Alphaville, and Ava Max. All beloved names in the dance pop world, so I could see it happening. Last Night I Dreamt I Fell in Love by Kylie Minogue and A-Loke. Kylie Minogue won this category 2 years ago, and this is a really cute song. Didn't really blow up like that, but it's a cute song, so I could see it happening. Beautiful People by David Guetta and Sia. A really successful song in the dance world this year. It was cute. Bluest Flame by Selena Gomez, Benny Blanco. Another highlight off of their album. I can see it happening for sure. Tell Me Where You Go by Clean Bandit, Tiesto, and Leone. I can see it happening. Hypnotized by Anima and Ellie Goulding. I didn't know much about the song, but it really did well this year, so I can see it happening. Oh My God by Tiesto and Sexy Red. I love this track off of the F1 soundtrack. Probably won't happen, but I'm not going to count it out. Really cute song. It would be so funny if Sexy Red got a dance pop nomination, but she slid on this track, and it's a really great record. And Tiesto, we all know love Tiesto, so why not? Save My Love by Marshmello, Ellie Goulding, and Avion. That could see it happening for sure. Jump by Blackpink, who I had in my final group for a while, but I took them out for Zara Larsson. But I could definitely see Blackpink getting their first nomination in this category with a really beloved song that really did well throughout the entire globe this year. And lastly, Fast by Demi Lovato. All right, last category in pop, we have Best Pop Vocal Album. I'm not in love with the way this category is shaping up this year, but it is what it is. But let's get to my final picks. And my final picks for this category are Hurry Up Tomorrow by The Weeknd, So Close to What by Tate McRae, Mayhem by Lady Gaga, Swag by Justin Bieber, and Man's Best Friend by Sabrina Carpenter. So I do feel good about my final picks here in terms of who will end up getting the final nominations. I feel like the locks are definitely Gaga and Sabrina Carpenter. And then I think a step down from there is The Weeknd and Justin Bieber. I felt good about those four, especially the ladies. To me, Tate McRae was my passion pick for this category in my fifth slot. I think the fifth slot is definitely debatable. I think a lot of people have Miley Cyrus. A lot of people maybe might have Coldplay or some other albums. But to me, I feel like Tate McRae makes the most sense for the fifth slot. She's had a string of successful hits this year. She kind of has been like the pop girl this year outside of like Gaga. So I really feel like it makes sense that she kind of gets this nomination to kind of summarize the entire era she's had outside of like any particular songs. So to me, she made sense as the fifth slot, but I could be wrong. But let's see what happens. Other alternatives for this category, Moon Music by Coldplay. They get in this category a lot. I can see it happening, but I think they'll miss this year, but I definitely wouldn't be surprised if they got the nomination. Rosie by Rosé. Again, I don't really feel like her album made waves outside of its singles, especially Apata, but I can see it happening. Ruby by Jenny. Again, this is an album that I feel like would deserve the nomination. It's a really great project. To me, she's the Blackpink girl that had the best project that was out this year, in my opinion. But I don't think she'll get the nomination, but it will be deserved. So she has a shot. I Said I Love You First by Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco. I didn't love this album like that, but it kind of did well this year, so I could see it happening. Something Beautiful by Miley Cyrus. I was debating back and forth between her and Tate McRae for my final slot, but I gave it to Tate. But I could definitely see Miley Cyrus being in that fifth spot for this category. It's an album that maybe even a lot of her diehard fans love. I don't love it as a whole like that, although it has some really amazing moments in it. As a whole, it kind of feels like it's an all-over-the-place project somewhat, but it's a really musically daring and innovative and, rewarding project. So I can see, the music community giving her love for this album, even though it wasn't the commercial juggernaut that a lot of her past albums were. Also, Addison by Addison Rae. Again, she's a new voice, so I think she'll have a hard time getting the nomination, but she could. American Heart by Benson Boone. This album wasn't beloved outside of its singles, but he's a new voice that's really beloved in the pop community, so I can see it happening. I Tried Everything But Therapy by Teddy Swims, the complete edition. Again, I think he's more known for his singles than his projects, but this is a kind of a summary of all of his songs that did well and other songs of his, so I can see it happening. You'll Be Alright Kid by Alex Warren. Again, I think he's having a hard time establishing identity outside of his singles, but and he's a new voice too, so I doubt he'll get the nomination, but he has a shot. Sex Hysteria by Jessie Murph. I can see it happening. She had a really good album this year. Bite Me by Renee Rapp. Again, I think she didn't have enough visibility this year outside of her release week, but she's kind of beloved in the community, so I can see her happening. Wishbone by Conan Gray. I could see it happening. And I Barely Know Her by Songbird to kind of go along with his Best New Artist nomination. I can see him getting in here as a surprise pick, but I doubt it. So those are my final picks and alternatives for Best Pop Vocal Album. How do you think this category is going to shape up? All right, y'all, now on to Best R&B Performance. So I'm actually really excited to see how this category plays out this year because I think it's a really stacked category. For my final picks, I have Heart of a Woman by Summer Walker, 20s by Giveon, Burning Blue by Mariah the Scientist, Folded by Kehlani, and Mutt live from NPR's Tiny Desk by Leon Thomas. So I feel good about this final lineup for sure. To me, the locks feel like Burning Blue, Folded, and Mutt. I'll be shocked if any of those songs missed. Giveon and Summer Walker are definitely vulnerable, but I feel good about their nominations here for sure because those are some of the biggest R&B songs of the year. Other alternatives I have in this category, we have a lot. First up, Fear When You Fly by Cleo Sol. Definitely did make a big commercial splash, obviously, but it's a really beautiful song, so I can see it being a surprise pick here. Pookie's Requiem by Sailor. Again, probably won't happen, but this is a really cute song that a lot of us love, so I think it has a shot, so I wanted to list it, although I doubt it. Another Life by SZA. Again, SZA is one of the biggest artists of our generation, and she's a Grammy darling. So in most years, I would have had her in my final 5, but this is a random album track off of the Lana project, so I don't really think it'll make it here. But it always could because she's SZA, so it could happen, but I doubt it. Are You Even Real by Teddy Swims and Giveon. This is a really great song, one of the biggest songs of R&B songs of the year. So we'll see what happens. I doubt it'll happen, but definitely has a shot. Baptized in Fear by The Weeknd. Again, like SZA, this is a random track off of his album, but because he's one of the biggest artists of our time, I could see him getting in off of name recognition alone. But I don't think it would deserve the nomination in my opinion. But it could happen. Worst Behavior by K1 and Kehlani. Really great song. I love the song so much. K1 is a new voice, so I don't know if she has enough recognition to get the nomination yet, but Kehlani is on the song, so that should help. And it's a great record, so that definitely has a shot. Overqualified by Duran Bernard. I can see it happening. Duran Bernard is, becoming more of a known and beloved name in the musical community, so I can see it happening as a surprise passion pick. Kissing in Public by Destin Conrad. Similar to Duran, he's becoming a new beloved voice in the musical community. I don't know if he has enough recognition to get a nomination here over the more prominent R&B songs in the lineup, but I definitely would love for him to be a nice welcome inclusion, as I love this song so much and he would be deserving of it. You by Coco Jones, which definitely makes sense. I think a lot of people have her in their final lineup, and I think she's becoming somewhat of a Grammy darling, which I would love. I love that for her. So I don't think this song will make the final lineup, but I definitely wouldn't be surprised if it does, because even though it's one of the singles off of her album, it didn't do as well as ICU or Here We Go, but it's a great song, so it would definitely deserve the nomination for sure. So we'll see what happens. Circle of Love by Terrace Martin, Kenyon Dixon, and Robert Glasper. Great record. It's just an album track, but it's a great song, so I could definitely see it getting in off of all the Grammy love that these artists all have separately. So for this collective song, I could see it happening. Yukon by Justin Bieber. Definitely don't think the song deserves the nomination. It's a cool little bop. I hated it at first, but it grew on me. But I don't think he should, and I don't think he will, but he has a shot. He did get the nomination a couple years ago with Peaches, but he also had 2 R&B artists on that song. So this is just a solo song, so I doubt it'll happen, but it could. It Depends by Chris Brown and Bryson Tiller. One of the biggest songs of the year. I could see it happening. I had the song in my final lineup for a while, but I took it out for 20s, but I could see it happening. Useless Without You by El Mien. I can see this being another surprise passion pick from a really great artist that's coming up right now. Make a Baby by Tori Kelly and Lucky Daye. I can see this being a surprise passion pick from these 2 artists who are beloved in the musical community. And lastly, Tiana Taylor and Lucky Daye's Hard Part, which is a standout from her Escape Room album by 2 beloved artists in the R&B space. So I can see it happening as well. So those are my final picks and alternatives for R&B Performance. Let me know how y'all think this category is shaping up and who are your nominations for this category. All right, now we're on Best Traditional R&B Performance. So my final picks for this category, I have Vibes Don't Lie by Leon Thomas, Cry Baby by SZA, Love You Too by Ledisi, Other Side of Love Remix by Coco Jones and Alicia Keys, and Lean on My Love by Jon Batiste and Andra Day. I feel good about my lineup. I feel good about a lot of these songs making it in, but this category is definitely wide open. To me, the only lock here is probably Lean on My Love, but anything can happen in this category. It's really wide open, but I'm excited to see how it shapes up. My alternatives for this category, we have Lucid Girl by The Sacred Souls. I can see it happening for sure. This group has not mustered up a nomination yet at the Grammys, but I feel like they're overdue at this point, so I can see it happening with this song. When a Man Cries by Leon Bridges, a highlight off of his Beautiful Leon album, so I can see it happening, especially if he misses an R&B album. I could see him getting a nomination for this song alone. Here We Are by Duran Bernard, a highlight off of his Bloom album. I could definitely see him making a play for this category. Where You Gonna Go by Eric Roberson and BJ the Chicago Kid. This is definitely a song that's a sleeper pick, but I can see it happening a lot. These are 2 beloved men in the R&B community, so I can see it happening. Must Be Love by Eric Benet and India Arie. This is a song that a lot of people have in their final lineup, and I definitely understand why. It's a great record. 2 beloved artists on a great song. I definitely think it has a shot for a nomination. I didn't put it in my final group, but I definitely think it's an alternative that can definitely make it, so we'll see what happens. It'll definitely be deserved. Also, Uptown by Lila Hathaway. This song to me should not really be here, but Lila Hathaway is a perennial nominee in this category and a Grammy darling, so I can see her getting a nomination off of name recognition alone. It's a cute song. I don't think it should be in traditional, but it's a cute song, so we'll take it if it happens. And How Can I Repay You by October London, to me, which is a beautiful song, amazing performance. October London has yet to muster up a Grammy nomination, so I think you'll have a hard time with a song that wasn't a big commercial song, but it's a great record, so definitely deserve it, and I think it has a shot for nomination as well. So next up, we have Best R&B Song, and my final picks for Best R&B Song, we have Yes It Is by Leon Thomas, Heart of a Woman by Summer Walker, Burning Blue by Mariah the Scientist, Folded by Kehlani, and It Depends by Chris Brown and Bryson Tiller. So I feel good about this lineup for sure. As you can see, we have a lot of crossover between this category and R&B Performance, which always makes sense. To me, the locks for this category are definitely Burning Blue and Folded. Everything else to me is vulnerable, but I feel good about those two in particular. I also feel good about Yes It Is showing up here, and Heart of a Woman, and even It Depends too, but everybody's vulnerable, so we'll see what happens. Alternatives I have in this category: When a Man Cries by Leon Bridges. Again, if it shows up in traditional, I could see it showing up here as well. It's a really beautiful, well-written, well-executed song. Fear When You Fly by Cleo Sol, again. Pookie's Requiem by Sailor. Chill Baby by SZA. So for SZA, this was her submission for Best R&B Song. Chill Baby, it's a cute bop. I love it down. I don't think this was her best choice for a submission for this category. It's kind of random in my opinion. So I definitely don't think it'll get the nomination, but I wouldn't be surprised if she does make it in off of name recognition alone. And it's a cute song, so I won't be mad, but I don't think it should be here. But she says it, so it could happen. Are You Even Real by Teddy Swims and Giveon. I could definitely see it showing up here as well. 20s by Giveon. I had 20s in my final lineup for a while, but I took it out for It Depends. I've been switching Giveon and Chris Brown a lot, but I definitely wouldn't be surprised if 20 showed up here because I think it should deserve the nomination. It's a really well-written song, classic song, but I think he'll fare better in performance, but we'll see what happens. Overqualified by Duran Bernard, I could see it happening here as well. Kissing in Public by Destin Conrad, I could also see it showing up here. On Sight by Coco Jones, this is her submission for R&B Song. I do think, I'm gonna mention this later, but I do think Coco Jones should have switched her R&B submissions. I would have submitted On Site to Performance and You to Song. That's my opinion, but it is what it is. But we have On Site for R&B Song. It could definitely muster up a nomination. I doubt it will, but it could. It's a really great song, even though it didn't do as well as a lot of our other Grammy nominated songs. So we'll see what happens. Brave Face by Halle, a really random pick that I put here, but she did get nominated a couple years ago for her song Angel here, so I could see Brave Face getting in. Really great song if she submitted it. I'm pretty sure this is her submission, but I didn't verify, but we'll see. Yukon by Justin Bieber, again, would not deserve the nomination, but he's Justin Bieber, and he submitted it here, so it could happen. Elmian's Useless Without You, I could see being a sleeper passion pick in this category. And lastly, Hard Part by Tiana Taylor and Lucky Day. Again, I can see it being a passion sleeper pick, especially if her album misses and just to get her nomination somewhere, I can see it happening. So those are my final picks on alternatives and Best R&B Song. All right, next up we have Best Progressive R&B Album, which to me is one of the most wide open and random categories this year. I don't even feel good about my final picks, but let's see what happens. In my final list, I have Access All Areas by Flo. Some Sexy Songs for You by Party Next Door and Drake. Bloom by Duran Bernard. Love on Digital by Destin Conrad. And Come As You Are by Terrace Martin and Kenyon Dixon. So I definitely feel like the only lock here is the Party Next Door and Drake album, which is unfortunate because to me that's not a great project, but it's one of the biggest projects of the year and name recognition. So I think it's the only lock here. Everybody else is definitely vulnerable, but I feel good about Duran Bernard's chances, and I definitely feel good about the Terrace Martin and Kenyon Dixon album as well. I feel good about those three projects. Flo and Destin Conrad are definitely vulnerable in my final lineup, but I feel good about them being passion picks, so I wanted to predict them, but we'll see what happens. Alternatives I have for this category, we have Jupiter by Neo. Again, her album came and went, didn't make that much noise, but she is a really great artist. She also got nominated a couple years ago with her Saturn album, so maybe she might get her second nomination with this album. We'll see, but I doubt it. Some Days I'm Good, Some Days I'm Not by Friday. Great artist coming up in the game right now. He's so consistent. His project is really good. Kind of came and went, so I don't know if it'll have enough eyes and ears on it to get the nomination, but he would deserve it. I think he's definitely an alternative in this category. Paid in Memories by Jessie Reyez. Her album was great, and she also got nominated a couple years ago with her EP. I think it was called Being Human in Public. But none of her albums since then have been nominated in this category, so I feel like her chances are not that great this year either. But her project is great, and she's a great artist, so she could be a surprise pick, and I would love it for her because the album's great. From Florida's Finest by Sailor. I think a lot of people have kind of written Sailor off because of her whole aesthetic, the grills and all that, but her authenticity in R&B. But I think her album is really great, or it's like a mixtape. It's really good, and I think she would be a really cool, and I would support her being like a surprise pick in this category. I doubt she'll get it, but she has a chance. The Summer That Saved Me by Odile. He's a really dope artist coming up in the game right now. Shout out to all my Africans. It's just an EP. And he's from the UK, so I don't know if he'll have that much eyes and ears on him. But I think he has a shot as a passion pick here. And the EP is great, so I would definitely support it. And Baby by Dijon. I've not heard this album in full. I previewed it, and a lot of people have this album in their final lineup. There's a lot of passion around him in his album this year, which is not surprising to me. But I don't exactly see the hype. But I would not be surprised if he showed up in this category, and I'll be happy for him. His album seems really innovative and daring and experimental and just forward thinking. So I'll be happy for him. He fits the mold of this category, so why not? But I don't have him in my final lineup. And lastly, CC Deluxe by Ciara. Ciara's album was not that great as a whole, but I think off of just her legendary status and with this being such a wide open year in this category, I could see her getting the love to get a nomination in this category. I doubt it, but she definitely has a shot with her project. So let's see what happens. But yeah, so those are my final picks and some alternatives and best progressive R&B album. I have no idea where this category is going, but let me know what y'all thoughts are down below. All right, last category in R&B, and that's Best R&B Album. I'm excited to see what happens with this category. It's looking to be pretty strong this year, so let's see what happens. But for my final picks in R&B Album, I have Mutt by Leon Thomas, Leon by Leon Bridges, Why Not More by Coco Jones, Beloved by Giveon, and Hearts Sold Separately by Mariah the Scientist. So I feel good about like 4 out of 5 of these categories. I feel like the locks to me definitely feel like Leon Thomas and Giveon feel like the locks. I wouldn't say they're locks, but I also feel good about the ladies, especially Coco Jones and Mariah the Scientist. I feel good about them being here as well. Leon Bridges is definitely not a lock. I think he's definitely vulnerable, but I feel strongly about predicting him because even though a lot of people don't have him in their lineup for this year, to me it makes sense because Leon Bridges has not missed once in R&B album for an album that he's dropped. Every single album this man has dropped has been nominated for R&B album. But the interesting thing this year with Leon Bridges is that this is the first album of his that really, compared to his other albums, really didn't make that much noise. It premiered, I think it's his lowest premiere on the Billboard 200 out of all of his projects. And it really did come and go. It didn't make that much noise compared to his past projects. But musically and critically, it's an amazing, beautiful, wonderful project. And it will be, to me, it's one of the best R&B albums of this year. So it deserves a nomination, but I could see him missing because he's not has much eyes and ears around his project like his past ones did. But he's never missed this category, so I wanted to predict him as well. But he could miss, so let's see what happens. Alternatives I have for this category, we have Got a Story to Tell by The Sacred Souls. I could see making a play in this category for sure. Any Way I Can by El Mean. I could see it happening, even though it's just more of like an EP, but he's a really beloved artist coming up, so I can see him making, being a surprise pick in this category. The Crown by Ledisi. She was in my final group for a while, but I had to take her off for Leon Bridges. If it wasn't for Leon Bridges, I would have had Ledisi in my final 5, and I would love it if she gets in because The Crown is a great project, and she always is good for getting at least a nomination or 2 every time she drops a project. But because of her having traditional performance, I decided, maybe she can miss an R&B album, but I wouldn't be surprised if she makes it in, and I would love that for her. The Co-Star by Eric Benet as well. A lot of people have him in their final lineup, and I'm rooting for him. I don't think he'll make it in my mind. I don't have him in my final lineup, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets into the final 5, and I love that for him. So Eric Benet is definitely in line for the nomination, but I doubt he'll get it. With All Due Respect by K1. Again, she's a new name in R&B. It's just coming up, but her project is great. It's like an EP, but it's great. One of my favorite projects of this year. So I would love for her to get the nomination. I think she would deserve it. But I think she's definitely in line as like an alternate. Her project is great. Escape Room by Tiana Taylor. I think she also, to me, like with Legacy, is like right in line for a nomination as well. I think she'll miss in the end, but I think she definitely has a great shot at getting a nomination. I wish she would have submitted her album to Best Progressive R&B Album. I feel like it would have made more sense there, and she would have had a better shot at a nomination, but it is what it is. But she definitely has a shot here as well. And lastly, Divine Time by Corey Henry. I have not heard this album, but Corey Henry's becoming somewhat of a Grammy darling every year now, so I have him here for being a definite alternate for this category. So those are my final picks and my alternatives and Best R&B Album. All right, y'all. Now we're on to the rap category. So first up, we have Best Rap Performance. And my final picks for this category, I have The Largest by Big X The Plug, TV Off by Kendrick Lamar and Lefty Gunplay, Anxiety by Doechii, Outside by Cardi B, and Chains and Whips by Clips, Kendrick Lamar, and Pharrell Williams. So I feel good about this final lineup for sure. Everybody's vulnerable. To me, the only locks feel like TV Off and Anxiety. Those feel like they're locks to me. Everyone else is vulnerable, but I feel good about, The Largest, Outside, and Chains and Whips. Especially Chains and Whips, especially. I feel good about it being here. Other alternatives for this category, we got What You Know About Me by Glorilla and Sexy Red. I think this song might be just too much of a hood bop to make it to the final 5 for the Grammys, but it could happen, so I want to mention it. Darling I by Tyler Creator and Tizo Touchdown. I don't know why Tyler Creator submitted this song to Rap Performance, but that's what he submitted. I don't think it should be here, but it has a shot at a nomination because, off of name recognition alone. It's a great song, so I can see it happening. Blick Something by Lotto and Playboi Carti. I can see it happening. Again, might be a little too hood for the Grammys, but it could happen. Why not? Good Credit by Playboi Carti and Kendrick Lamar. Especially with the Kendrick feature, I can see this song making a play for the nomination, although I don't think it should get it. Bodies by Offset and JID. A song that I think a lot of y'all kind of overhyped this shit. A lot of y'all love this song, and it's cool. I don't hate it, but I think y'all overhyped it, but it's like a beloved song in the rap community shit, so I can see it getting a nomination, even though I don't see why, but whatever. Ensalada or 1995, depending on, I know they submitted both songs. I'm not sure which one would get the nomination if it did. By Freddie Gibbs, The Alchemist, and Anderson .Paak for Ensalada. I would assume maybe Ensalada would get the nomination more than 1995, but either one. I could see making a play here. Just Say That or Won't Stop. I'm not sure which song he submitted here, but one of those could make a play by Gunna. Off of the last one, I could see one of those songs making it in. More so Just Say That, but I think Won't Stop was probably his submission, so let's see. And lastly, No More Old Men by Chance the Rapper and Jamila Woods, which is a really cool highlight off of his Starline album. I can see Chance the Rapper getting in here, especially if he misses with his album, which I'm predicting. I think he can make it into one of the performance or song categories with one of his songs, so I can see this making a play as well. So those are my thoughts on rap performance. I think this is a category that's definitely, I wouldn't say like wide open, but a lot of things could happen here, so it's exciting. But I do feel good about my final picks, but some alternatives definitely pose themselves as threats, so let's see what happens. Next up, we have Best Melodic Rap Performance. Similar to Best Progressive R&B Album, this is a category to me where I feel like I have no idea where it's going besides the locks. And I feel like it's just too wide open because of how a lot of people messed up their submissions, but it is what it is. So let's get into it. My final picks for this category, I have Timeless by The Weeknd and Playboi Carti, Luther by Kendrick Lamar and SZA, Somebody Loves Me by Drake and Party Next Door, Dark Thoughts by Lil Tecca, and WGFT by Gunna and Burna Boy. So this category, I think I made it as good as I could, depending, even though the submissions, a lot of songs weren't submitted here that should have been. But I think to me, the only lock here is obviously Luther. And I say right after that is Timeless by The Weeknd. I feel like those songs are locks. Everything else is wide open for the taking. I do feel good about Somebody Loves Me being in here. And Dark Thoughts and WGFT, I think, are definitely vulnerable, but I feel good about them making it into the final slots. Alternatives I have for this category, we have Too Fast by Future, which I would not want to get in, but it could. A lot of Future is he's an established name at this point. I could see him getting in as like a 4th, 5th slot nomination, although I don't want him to. I Do by Tusi and Money Long, which is a record that I love. I don't think it'll get in here because Tusi's not that big of a name. Money Long is in the Grammy space, but Tusi's not. But it's a bop, so it definitely has a shot. Don't Deserve by Glorilla and Money Long. So this is a song that I really think actually does have a shot to make it into the final 5, even though it's just an album track. But it's by 2 beloved artists in the Grammy space right now on a great record, a great, this is like a perfect example of like a melodic rap, rap song performance. So I think it could definitely get in as like a surprise passion pick, even though it's just an album track, but it could happen. Backdoor by Playboi Carti, Kendrick Lamar, and Jhené Aiko. I could definitely see it happening. The song is but it has some superstars on it, Kendrick and Jhené Aiko, so I could see it happening. And Playboi Carti had a big year, so maybe this could be his nomination outside of Timeless instead of his project. Lose My Mind by Doja Cat and Don Toliver, a highlight off of that F1 soundtrack. And I had it in my final 5 for a while, but I took it out. But it will make sense if it got a nomination here. I doubt it, because it wasn't like a big smash in America. Globally kind of was, but it didn't make that much noise. But it was kind of a steady sleeper hit throughout the year, so I could see it happening. Somebody by Lotto. This song is to me. It's cute. It ain't all that, but Lotto is becoming somewhat of a Grammy darling with that surprise nomination that she got last year for Big Mama, which I didn't like, but whatever. So she'll probably get in. She could get in again with somebody. We'll see. Probably not, but it could happen. We Mage by Kenyon Dixon, Terrace Martin, and Rhapsody. Rhapsody just won this category last year. Terrace Martin and Kenyon Dixon are Grammy darlings. This is a good song, so it definitely has a shot as well off of that really great project. Lovers or Friends by YG and Leon Thomas. I only have this song here as an option because of Leon Thomas, and it's a good song. That's why, but I think Leon Thomas is the reason why I could have a shot at nomination. I think Leon Thomas will have a splashy year at the Grammys, and this could be a part of that haul, although I doubt it, but it has a shot at nomination. And lastly, Brother by DJ Khaled, Post Malone, and Youngboy Never Broke Again. I really do think this song, nobody knows it. It didn't make that much. It just came out. It's new. It hasn't made that much waves yet, but it's a great song. And it really feels like a great example of a song that should be nominated in this category. So I can see it happening, but I doubt it, but it has a shot. So those are my final picks on alternatives in this category. Let me know what y'all think down below. All right, y'all, now on to Best Rap Song, which is shaping up to be one of the stronger categories in my opinion. So for my final picks in rap song, I have TGIF by Glorilla, Sticky by Tyler the Creator, Glorilla, Sexy Red, and Lil Wayne, TV Off by Kendrick Lamar and Lefty Gunplay, Anxiety by Doechii, and The Birds Don't Sing by Clips, John Legend, and The Voices of Fire. So I also want to note that Tyler Creator also submitted Saint Chroma with him and Daniel Caesar to this category. But I think if Tyler were to get the nomination, it will be for Sticky. It could be Saint Chroma, but I think it will be for Sticky. But let's see what happens. So I feel good about TV Off and Anxiety being, and I want to say, The Birds Don't Sing as well being locks in this category. And I feel good about TJF. It's vulnerable, but I feel like it should get the nomination for sure. Sticky is definitely vulnerable, and Saint Chroma if it either one. But I feel good about Sticky being nominated, but it definitely is vulnerable, especially with all those artists on it. So let's see what happens. For alternatives in rap song, I have Timeless by The Weeknd and Playboi Carti. It'll get the melodic rap performance nomination. It's one of the biggest songs of the year, so I can see it happening. I doubt it. I think it's better in performance than song, but it could happen. The Largest by Big X The Plug. I would love for it to get a nomination here. I think it'll just be in performance if it did get nominated, or it could just be here alone. I don't know, but I think it's stronger performance, but it could get nominated here for sure. Bigger in Texas by Megan Thee Stallion. I think she has a shot here. Then again, she did miss out on nominations last year for Mamushi, which I thought was like pretty much locked up for her to get some love in those categories, and I think she missed some other nominations in past years that I was like, what the hell? Yeah, so the Grammys ain't been feeling Megan Thee Stallion lately, so she probably will miss, but she has a shot, I think. Won't Stop by Gunna. I think it definitely has a shot here as well. Somebody Loves Me by, Drake and Party Next Door. I would hate for it to get nominated, but, it's probably going to get into melodic rap, so it has a shot here as well. Somebody by Lotto. Again, cute song. It's not all that, but it definitely has a shot as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it does get in, but I doubt it will. Outside by Cardi B, I really do think this has a strong shot to get in song as well as performance. I have it in performance, not song, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does make our rap song. We'll see what happens. It's a really well-written song in my opinion, well-executed rap song, so I think it would deserve the nomination. Ensalada by Freddie Gibbs, The Alchemist, and Anderson .Paak. Really great record. I doubt it'll get in, but it has a shot, so I wanted to mention it. Letters by Chance the Rapper and Rachel Robinson. This is also one of the other highlights off of Chance the Rapper's Starline album. I definitely could see it getting in here as well. Really good performance, really well-written song. A lot of good messages on that song, so I could see it getting in as like a surprise passion pick for Chance the Rapper. I could see it happening. And lastly, again, Brother by Gigi Khaled, Post Malone, and NBA Youngboy. I can see it happening. It's not a big hit. A lot of people don't really know it like that yet, but it's a really good song, so I can see it being a surprise passion pick as well. So those are just my final picks and alternatives and rap song. I feel good about my lineup, but anything can happen. Let me know what y'all think about this category down below. All right, now we're on to Best Rap Album, which is shaping up to be one of the strongest categories this year. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in this category. But for my final picks, I have Take Care by Big X The Plug, Glorious by Glorilla, Chromacopia by Tyler the Creator, GNX by Kendrick Lamar, and Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clips. So I feel good about my final lineup for sure. I feel like the locks here are definitely, Kendrick, Tyler the Creator, and Clips. I'll be shocked if any of those guys miss. Glorilla's album to me is definitely not a lock, but she's damn near a lock, and I feel like if she misses, that'll be a shame. Her album is great, and we also do need female representation in this category with how strong of a female rap renaissance the game is in right now. It would be a shame if we didn't have any women in this category this year. Glorilla should be here. I'll be mad if she misses. So that leaves just the fifth spot open in my opinion. So I gave my fifth spot to Big X The Plug with this album Take Care. To me, it made the most sense to go along with what I think will be a Best New Artist nomination. I think he'll get love with the largest and also some love in the country category. So I think he'll have a really good haul this year, and I feel like this should be a part of that. His album was great, and I feel like he's also a good representation of what rap was this year outside of the other 4 projects I have listed in my final 5. So to me, he makes the most sense. But as always, anything is possible, and that fifth spot is up for grabs. So speaking of my alternatives for this category, I have The Force by LL Cool J. LL Cool J's kind of been outside the conversation for a long time now. Obviously, he's kind of like he was retired for a while. But this is like a nice little comeback album for him. So I could see him getting a nomination for that alone from like the older voting block of the Academy. But at the same time, I doubt it, but it could happen. Speaking of the older voting block of the Grammy Academy, Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre with their Missionary album, I could see having a nomination as well. It did come out like around December, so it could be forgotten by now by a lot of voters, but they're big enough names that they could muster up a nomination, and the project was great, so I could see it happening. Wham! Who Hard As Me by Lil Baby. I thought this album was mid. I didn't think it was all that, but Lil Baby's a beloved name, so I could see it happening for sure. Why not? Life is Beautiful by Larry June, 2 Chainz, and The Alchemist. A really beloved album in like the underground hip hop spaces, so I can see it happening. I don't know if it'll have enough eyes and ears on it to get it to the nomination, but a lot of people love this album, so I definitely could see it being in line for a nomination. Music or I Am Music by Playboi Carti. I've not heard this album and I have no plans to hear it because I don't care about Playboi Carti. I'm not on the wave. I'm just not, and I don't want to be. But this is also one of the biggest albums of the year by a rap artist, and I don't want to count it out. And I can see it happening, although I hope it doesn't. Alfredo 2 by Freddie Gibbs and The Alchemist. Man, The Alchemist has a lot of stuff this year. Maybe I should put him in Producer of the Year. But I could definitely see Alfredo 2 getting a nomination in line with its predecessor, Alfredo, getting nominated. It got Rap Album nomination back in 2020. So I could see this album getting a nomination as well. It's outside of my final list, but I could see it getting nominated. I wouldn't be surprised. It's a great project as well. So I could see it getting love to match up with the predecessor. The Last One by Gunna. Definitely an album that I could see getting nominated. I don't think Gunna's been nominated for any of his albums, but this could be the first time he gets nominated for an album. Let's see what happens. It was a big album, and it was a beloved album this year, so it definitely has a shot. God Does Like Ugly by G.I.D. This album was great. Not as good as his last project, which didn't get a nomination either, so I think it has a hard time getting to the final list, but it has a shot. It's a good project. G.I.D.'s a beloved artist, but I think he'll have a harder time, but it definitely can happen, so I don't want to count it out. And Starline by Chance the Rapper. I love this album. To me, in my opinion, I think I will put it in my final 5. To me, I would give my 5th spot to Chance the Rapper. But I don't think he'll make it in. He's been gone for so long. He's been out of the conversation for so long. So I think he'll have a hard time getting enough eyes and ears to vote for him. But he definitely will deserve it. He has one of the best rap albums this year. His album is amazing. Starline definitely should be in the final 5 in my opinion, but I think he'll have a hard time. I think he'll miss, but I'm rooting for him, and I hope he does get in. Kiari by Offset, which is an album that was cool. I don't know if it'll get in, but it definitely has a shot, off of the drama with him and Cardi alone. And the album was loved, so I could see it happening, but I doubt it. But, he has a shot. Live, Laugh, Love by Earl Sweatshirt, another beloved album, more in the underground hip-hop space, so I could see it happening. I doubt it, but, he could be like a passion pick. And same thing with Joey Badass with his album, Lonely at the Top. I can see it's being another passion pick as well. It didn't make that much of a commercial splash for him this year. There's not like no hits attached to it like that. But Joey, he's a great artist, and this is a album that really was good. So I can see him being another passion pick as well. So those are my final picks and my alternatives and rap album. This is a strong year, but I'm looking forward to seeing what's gonna happen. Who do y'all think is making the final 5? Let me know what y'all think down below. All right, now we're on to Best African Music Performance. Always one of the categories I'm excited for every year now because, hello, shout out to my people. But let's get into it. So for my final picks in African Music Performance, I have Push to Start by Tyler, Baby, Is It a Crime by Rema, With You by Davido and Omale, Gimme That by Ira Star and Wizkid, and Love by Burna Boy. So I feel like this pretty much will be the final 5. I think definitely everybody's vulnerable besides Tyler and Davido. I feel like Tyler's and Davido's songs are locks. Rema's vulnerable, but I think he's in. Ira Star and Wizkid, their song is definitely vulnerable, but I think they're in. Burna Boy, he's not a lock, but I'm pretty sure he's in. But we'll see what happens. Anybody can miss. For my alternatives for this category, I have Piece of My Heart by Wizkid and Brent Faiyaz, which would make a lot of sense too. It was one of the biggest songs of the year in this space, but it peaked early in the year, so it could be forgotten at this point. Pity This Boy by Odumodu Black and Victoni. I can see that happening. Why Love by Ashake. I can see that making a play as well. Lahore by Shali Poppy. Shout out to my people. Lahore. That's my joint. I love Lahore. I can see it happening. My Darling by Chella. I can see that happening for sure. Billionaires Club by Olamide, Wizkid, and Darkul. That was a song that wasn't like a big smash, but I could see it getting a lot of love off of just it being a good song and off the people who made it. One Condition by DJ Tunes, Wizkid, and Fola. Again, another really nice bop. I don't think it'll make it in, but definitely has a shot. Bad Man Gangsta by Ashake and Tiakola. A really cool song I can see getting in as well, but I doubt it. Low by Sierra and Diamond Platinum. So this is like the one, song we have by an American artist that I think could make this category potentially. I love that song. Sierra's Low is such a bop. Shout out to her and Diamond Platinums. It's such a good song. That video is fire. I doubt it'll make it into the final 5, but it definitely has a shot because it's such a good song. And Sierra's a big name, so why not? Kind of like Sensational, but it wasn't like the hit that Sensational was by Chris Brown last year, so I don't think it'll make it in, but it could. Has a shot. And lastly, Isaka 6 a.m. by SZA, Thames, Omale, Tukutela, and Jazz Works. I can see that being a sleeper pick as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this category shapes up. I feel like the final 5 will be close to what I have for my final picks, but one of the alternatives definitely could be a surprise, threat. So let's see what happens. So let me know what y'all think about this category and who's making it in down below. Also, I had to mention Shake It to the Max by Molly, Silent Addy, Shensia, and Skillibang. I think it really wasn't submitted to this category or even Global Music Performance. So I'm not really sure why, because I feel like it should have been a shoo-in for one of those categories, especially this one. But if it's not here or in Global Music Performance, then it is what it is. But it's still a bop. But it would have been in my final 5 if it had been submitted. But as far as I know, Shake It to Max was not submitted for any performance category, which I'm not sure why, but it is what it is. But hopefully it wasn't. We just didn't see it. But if it is, I definitely would replace Shake It to the Max with maybe Gimme That or Love by Burna Boy, one of those. But or maybe it's in Global Music Performance, which is fine because it's more of like a dancehall reggae, not reggae. It's more of like a dancehall song than an African song, but it is what it is. So we'll see. All right, now we're on to best music video. And I do want to say, I think I did a pretty good job with my lineup, but I also feel like this category is so wide open for me this year. I don't feel like there's a lot of clear videos that are like making it to the final five for sure. So it's exciting that it's wide open, but I also feel like I could be completely off with my predictions. But I feel good about what I have, so let's get into it. For my final picks in music video, I have You Sexua by FKA Twigs, Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish, Abracadabra by Lady Gaga, Anxiety by Doechii, and Manchild by Sabrina Carpenter. So those are all great videos. I feel good about all of them. I wouldn't say any of them are a lock, but if I had to identify locks, I might say maybe Abracadabra and Manchild, I think would be the locks in my opinion, but they definitely could both miss. I also feel pretty good about the You Sexua video being here. That was like really amazing, iconic video. And FKA Twigs got nominated a couple years ago with her Cellophane video. So I think she can get in here again, but we'll see. Billie Eilish could definitely miss with it being a very simple video, but I think just the vibe that video gives, I feel like it could get nominated here. She's also a very visual, dope artist. A lot of people love her videos, so I could see her getting love for the Birds of a Feather video. And Anxiety definitely could miss as well, but to me that felt like a video that would make sense in this lineup as well. So I wanted to give love to Doechii. I feel like that would make sense if she got in. Other alternatives I have in music video, again, this is wide open. I might be missing a lot of videos, so please let me know down below if you think I'm missing anybody. I'll be happy to, be informed of that. But I also have Apata by Rose and Bruno Mars. A really simple video, but I can see it getting in, although I don't think it should, but it could. Revolving Door by Tate McRae. Love that video. It's really simple. It's just, choreography based, but I really feel like it's a beautiful, simple, well executed video that really hits you when you're watching. So I could see it getting in. Luther by Kendrick Lamar and SZA. Really cool video, simple, not a lot of bells and whistles. Off of the strength of the love of the song alone, I could see it getting in. And the artists who are attached to it, why not? Supernatural by Ariana Grande. This is one of the best moments of her Brighter Days Ahead film. I could see it happening. I doubt it, but she definitely has a shot to get in with this video. The Subway by Chaperone, I definitely think she has a shot as well. Really cute video, really memorable video with the hair, just everything going on with that video. It's a really dope visual that's memorable, so I could see it getting in here for sure. Especially if the Subway misses in the pop and general categories, maybe they give it love here as this consolation prize. And also Darling I by Tyler Creator and Tizo Touchdown. Really nice video that kind of has like a film narrative to it. It kind of feels like a short film. So I can see it getting a nomination here. Yeah, those are my final picks and some alternatives and music video. I'm pretty sure I missed a lot of other videos that are great that probably will be nominated or be in contention. So like I said, please let me know down below and we can have that conversation. So yeah. All right, y'all, so I've gone through all the main categories that I care about. Now I just want to go into some categories that I'm not going to talk about in depth, but I just want to mention some potential nominations I think will or could happen in those categories. So let's get to it really quickly. First of all, let's go through the dance and electronic categories. So I think some things I can see happening in the dance category, especially for dance electronic recording. I'm expecting to probably see Skepta and Plaque Max and Fred Again's Victory Lap song, or maybe just the version without Plaque Max. Skepta and Fred Again's Victory Lap, I can see that happening in dance electronic recording for sure. And for dance electronic album, I definitely think I'm gonna end up seeing FKA Twigs' You Sexua for sure. And potentially Cajun artist Ain't No Damn Way. He's been nominated for all of his albums recently, for 2 of his last albums. So even though this album didn't make as much noise as his past albums, I could see it happening. It's more of an instrumental album than, album with a lot of vocals on it like his past ones did, but I could see it definitely getting in. He's a beloved artist in the dance space, so why not? For jazz, some people I'm expecting to see in jazz, I definitely think in Best Jazz Vocal Album, I think I'm definitely going to see Samara Joy's Poetry being a lock and hopefully winning, because that album is everything and she is the jazz girl right now, so I think she'll definitely be a lock for a nomination and hopefully the win. And also I think her track Peace of Mind, Dreams Come True will end up in Best Jazz Performance, so I'm expecting to see that. For Alternative Jazz Album, I'm looking forward to seeing how this category shakes out again. I'm expecting to see Robert Glasper's Keys to the City Volume 1 here for sure. And potential, there's some other people, but I'm not going to mention them, but I also think I'm also rooting for Destin Conrad's Whimsy to be an alternative jazz album as well. A really great project, especially if Destin Conrad misses progressive R&B album. I want him to have a nomination somewhere, as is, hopefully have a nice debut year at the Grammys. So if not both, I hope he at least gets alternative jazz album for Whimsy, because it's a great project. So shout out to Destin Conrad. So those are some things I'm expecting to see in the jazz categories. In the global music album category, I'm definitely expecting to see some major African artists getting some love here, namely, Wizkid for his Mariah album. I could definitely see Mariah getting in, as well as Davido's 5 album. I could definitely see Davido getting in with the 5 album, and Burna Boy's No Sign of Weakness album. Not his strongest album, funny enough in itself, and not an album that made as much of a splash as a lot of his past albums, but I could definitely see him getting at least a nomination. And potentially T.Y. Savage's, this one is personal. If it wasn't submitted to Best of R&B Album, then I could see him getting a nomination, but I doubt it. And also in global music performance, I'm expecting to see Bad Bunny's EOO in that category for sure. So those are some things I'm expecting to see in the global music categories. All right, now we're on to the alternative category. So for alternative music performance, I really don't have a post in this category, but some songs I think could show up potentially. Just want to mention a few. Hayley Williams' Parachute. Shout out to Hayley Williams. We love Paramore. And Florence and the Machine's Everybody Scream. I can see both of those songs popping up there. But I mainly want to talk about Best Alternative Music Album. It seems like it's going to be a really strong category this year. There's a lot of albums I could see that I'm right about predicting. I think Halsey's The Great Impersonator could show up in that category. She showed up a few years ago with her last project, If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power. So I definitely could see her showing up with her latest project, even though her album did kind of come and go, but I could still see her getting nomination. Kali Uchis with her Sincerely album, which it should not be in this category, but she could get a nomination here. I don't know why she didn't submit to R&B. I'll mention that later. Lorde with her Virgin album, I could definitely see getting the nomination and probably being one of the frontrunners to win Alternative Music Album for sure. Wet Leg with Moisturizer, I could see that being one of the frontrunners for a nomination for Alternative Music Album. And let's see, Tyler Creator submitted his album Don't Top the Glass to this category. I don't think it'll get in, but it has a shot, so definitely don't want to count it out. Lastly, Hayley Williams again with Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party. That's the collection of songs she put out recently. I can see that getting into Alternative Music Album. So just some thoughts on alternative. Okay, let's go through the country categories. I want to name, artists and albums and songs that I feel like could get nominated in the country categories. Jelly Roll, I could see him getting in to contemporary country with his project Beautifully Broken. I could definitely see also Kelsey Ballerini's Patterns album getting into that category as well as Kane Brown's The High Road album. And I also want to mention a Big X of Plugs, I Hope You're Happy. I feel like that's an album that definitely has a good shot to get into contemporary country album as well, for sure. And I can also see Big X the Plug and Billie Zimmerman getting into country duo / group performance and or best country song with their collaboration All the Way. I also think Shabuzi has a great shot to get into a country solo performance and or country song with Good News. I think Shabuzi and Jelly Roll have a good shot to get into country duo / group performance or country song and or country song with their track Amen. I think those are definitely in line for nominations. I also think Chaperone has a good shot to get into a country solo performance and a country song with The Giver. Chaperone is not primarily a country artist, so I think that'll work against her. But The Giver was a really big song when it came out this year, and it was a moment, so I could see it happening. For Americana, I'm expecting to see Jon Batiste make it in with his album Big Money. I think he'll be a frontrunner for the nomination and the win. And I also think his song Pinnacle has a great shot to get into Best Americana Performance. Other than that, I don't have a pulse on the Americana categories, but I definitely think Jon Batiste will show up there in those categories in a few places. Okay, for the visual media categories, I think this is going to be a very strong year for those categories. For Best Compilation Soundtrack for visual media, I definitely think the locks are going to be obviously the K-pop Demon Hunter soundtrack. I'll be shocked if that misses. I think it's in line for the win. And also, I think the Wicked soundtrack is also in line for a nomination and definitely competing for the win. So I think Wicked and K-pop Demon Hunters are locks for that category. I also think the F1 soundtrack has a great shot for a nomination as well. That was a great soundtrack. For the Best Song Written for Visual Media category, I definitely think we're going to see the Golden Song making definitely be in line for the nomination. Also the win for this category as well by Huntrix. And I also think some of the Emilia Perez songs will show up here as well. El Mal won the Oscar for Best Original Song this year, and I definitely think it could show up here as well as Mi Camino off of the Emilia Perez soundtrack. And I also think Never Too Late by Elton John and Brandi Carlile has a great shot at getting a nomination in this category as well. So those are just some songs I want to mention for Best Song Written for Visual Media. Okay, some other random things I think I'll end up seeing. I think we're going to see Glorilla's Rain Down on Me with her and Kirk Franklin, Maverick City Music. Kiara Shear and Chandler Moore in contemporary Christian music performance / song. I think that definitely will happen. That'll be cool to see. Shout out to Glorilla. She just won the Christian, category at the BET Awards. So I think it'll translate here as well. And Best Musical Urbana Album, I think obviously Bad Bunny's album is gonna be the one to win it. So I think he'll definitely be nominated. I also think Raul Alejandro's album, Cosa Nuestra, will definitely be in line for a nomination as well. So I wanted to mention him. I also think there's a great shot that Questlove's film Sly Lives, aka The Burden of Black Genius. I think that hopefully, I'm rooting for it, and I hopefully think it will get into Best Music Film. That was a great film about Sly Stone, so I think it definitely should and will get the nomination, but you never know. It could miss, but I hope it does. It's a great film. I also think Ariana Grande and her Brighter Days Ahead film has a great shot to get that nomination as well. And also Miley Cyrus' Something Beautiful film. I think that could also get into Best Music Film. You never know when it comes to like the mainstream pop stars. When it comes to music film, it's always hit or miss. But I think Ariana Grande and Miley Cyrus have a shot to get in with their films, even though they feel like more so collections of music videos put together than like films. But they have a shot, so we'll see. I also think we're going to see Karol G's Tropi Coqueta album and Best Latin Pop Album. I think she's a frontrunner to probably win, or at least get the nomination. I think we'll see Haim's I Quit and Best Rock Album for sure. I think we're going to see Laufey's A Matter of Time being a frontrunner, or at least getting the nomination for Best Traditional Pop Vocal Album. Yeah, so that's it. So those are the categories that I don't go into in depth. I don't have that good of a pulse on them, but those are just some other songs and albums and artists that I want to mention that I think are definitely in line for nominations for those categories. So let me know what y'all think. All right, y'all, just to wrap up, I just want to talk about some thoughts I have on the submissions this year. I think overall, I just want to say that I think a lot of the submissions from a lot of the mainstream artists and a lot of the mainstream like the more popular categories were a mess this year. I really don't know what was going on this year. There was a lot of things that happened that I just didn't like, and I just thought was like not smart on the artists and their team and their label's part. So I just want to mention some things and some thoughts having the submissions this year. First thing is a good thing. I noticed that all the Blackpink girls, so Rose, Jennie, Lisa, and I think Jisoo as well, they all decided collectively to not submit themselves individually to Best New Artist, which I thought was really beautiful. I think it's an interesting choice that I'm assuming was made in solidarity with each other to support each other and to not, step on each other's visibility as they go on their solo paths, which I think is a beautiful thing, because it just shows that they really love and support each other. And I think it's beautiful. But at the same time, I also think it's unfortunate because I feel like we will never have known if any of those ladies would have been nominated for Best New Artist. Namely, I think Rose had a good shot. Potentially Jennie. I think Jennie would have been my pick because I think her album and her artistry, I think, is great. So I doubt anything would ever got nominated, but we'll never know because they didn't submit. So, but also I think the reason why they did it is beautiful, so I'm not that mad at it. Shout out to female solidarity. We love it. Okay, so for the R&B categories, a lot of things made me upset. So let's talk about it. Hearts Sold Separately by Mariah the Scientist. I definitely feel like I'm fine that it's an R&B album, but I feel like it would have made more sense in progressive R&B album. Not a big deal, but let me know what y'all think. To me, I feel like Mariah would have made more sense in progressive R&B album, and that would have freed up a spot in R&B album that I feel like really should have went to either Let It See or Tiana Taylor or someone else, but whatever, not a big deal. Hurry Up Tomorrow, it's in Best Pop Vocal Album. I really feel like, obviously, I think it makes more sense in progressive R&B album. And I'm not really sure why his team went for pop vocal album. To me, it's not a racial thing. It's more so about the fact that I feel like The Weeknd's Hurry Up Tomorrow album would have fit really well in progressive R&B. And I feel like it had a better shot at a nomination and a win compared to a pop vocal album. But it's fine in pop vocal album, but I just feel like it would have fit and had a better chance at a nomination and win in progressive R&B, but not a big deal. But I wanted to mention that. Some things I thought were egregious was Ella Mai and her team submitting and her label submitting Tell Her to R&B Performance and R&B Song instead of Little Things. Tell Her just came out and nobody cares about it, whereas Little Things was actually a really cute hit throughout the year that I feel like would have had a better shot at a nomination in either or both of those categories. So Ella Mai and your team, I don't know why y'all decide to do that. Tell Her is cute, but it's not Little Things. Little Things was the moment for you this year. Why did you not submit that song? Hello? And also, I think it's insane that Atlantic decided to not submit Kehlani's Folded to Record and Song of the Year. Folded is one of the biggest R&B songs of the year, so it not having a viable shot at a nomination in the general categories is so insane to me, and I don't know I'm pretty sure it was something strategic where one of the other artists, they wanted a better chance at getting the nomination and win, which is fine, but like, why do that to Kehlani when Fold is one of the biggest songs of the year anyway. So like, that's so messed up to me, but it is what it is. Let me know what y'all think about that. Also, like I said before, I would have switched Coco Jones's submissions for R&B Performance and Song. She submitted You to Performance and On-Site to Song, when in my opinion, I feel like they actually would have been better switched. I feel like You was a great song, whereas On-Site is more of a better performance. So I would have switched them. I'm not sure why she did it like that, but it is what it is. Also, I love Leon Thomas, and his submissions weren't that bad, but if I were on his team, I would have submitted a little bit differently. I think he should have submitted the deluxe version of his album, not just the standard version. I'm not sure why he didn't submit Mutt Deluxe Heal. I'm not sure why. He submitted just the standard version, which is fine, but you might as well acknowledge your entire deluxe album, which came out in the eligibility cycle as well. So I don't know why he didn't do that, but it is what it is. And I would have submitted Not Fair to R&B Song, and I would have submitted Yes It Is to Best Traditional R&B Performance. Vibes Don't Lie being traditional performance is fine. I love that song. And Yes It Is being an R&B song is fine. But if I were him, I feel like it would have made more sense to submit Not Fair to R&B Song and Yes It Is to traditional R&B Performance. And submit your deluxe album for your album consideration. So I'm not really sure what Leon Thomas was doing, but I still think he's going to get love across the board regardless, so it is what it is. And speaking of standard versus deluxe albums, I'm also not sure why Coco Jones decided to submit the standard version of her album instead of the deluxe version, which also came out in the eligibility window. So why not just submit your deluxe album that has all your bonus tracks, everything else, the remix with Alicia Keys? I just feel like that would have made more sense. Not a big deal. She'll get the nomination anyways, but I feel like it should have been for the deluxe album, not just the standard version. I don't know what all these artists are doing, but it is what it is. And let me know what y'all think. Again, not a big deal, but I really feel like Tiana Taylor also should have submitted her album to Best Progressive R&B Album. I think I mentioned this before. Her album is fine in R&B album, but I feel like she would have had an easier shot at a nomination for Best Progressive R&B Album. I feel like that category is way more wide open. I feel like she would have had a better shot there. I don't know why her team opted to submit in Best R&B Album. I feel like if I were on her team, I would have said, no, let's do Progressive R&B. I think you'll have a better shot at getting a nomination there, but it is what it is. But she could still get into R&B album, so maybe it won't matter. And I'm still trying to figure out why the hell Giveon did not submit any of his songs to Best Traditional R&B Performance. Giveon is literally the poster child, the archetype of traditional R&B in this modern era. I don't understand why he didn't submit one of his songs to that category. He could have submitted 20s. He could have submitted Rather Be. He could have submitted I Can't Tell. Like, one of those songs should have been submitted to traditional R&B Performance. I don't know why he didn't do that. It doesn't make any sense to me. To me, that was a missed opportunity for a nomination, potentially, but that's on him and his team. It is what it is. All right, on to the rap categories. I want to mention Doechii quickly with her track Anxiety. Love Anxiety. I'm not mad that it's in the rap categories instead of the pop categories, which a lot of people thought it would be. But I just feel like if you're going to put it in the rap categories, at least submit it to melodic rap. I feel like Anxiety is committing a crazy case of category fraud, putting it in rap performance when it's the archetype, it's the poster child of a song that should be in melodic rap. She's singing on like more than half of the song. So I don't understand why it's in rap performance. I feel like that's category fraud OD. I don't like that. I feel like she's still probably gonna lose to Kendrick and or the Clips in either category, whether it would have been in rap performance or melodic rap. So I'm not really sure why she's committing the category fraud. She's probably not gonna win in either of those categories. She could win in performance potentially, but I doubt it. So I feel like there's no need to commit category fraud, but it is what it is. And I really don't understand why the Clips didn't submit the Birds Don't Sing to melodic rap as well. I feel like the melodic rap category is so weak because Doechii decided to not submit Anxiety, and the Clips didn't submit the Birds Don't Sing to melodic rap, which I feel like it should have been a shoo-in for a nomination. John Legend, The Choir, the beautiful deep message, like that song should have been a shoo-in for a nomination for melodic rap, but it wasn't. It was only submitted to rap song. I don't understand that. The Clips, I feel like that was a missed opportunity for you guys to get a nomination as well, but whatever. It's almost like everyone knew that just because Kendrick and SZA are winning melodic rap, it's like they just want to like not submit their stuff and like just get out the way. But it's like, even if you're not gonna win, at least submit your stuff so it'll get the nomination. Like, I don't get it, but maybe I feel like there's something weird going on with melodic rap this year that I don't understand, but it is what it is. And I really don't understand why Friday and Meek Mill didn't submit their collaboration Proud of Me to melodic rap. I feel like that would have been a great song for a nomination if it did get nominated, or at least submit it there anyways. I don't know why they didn't submit it, but it is what it is. And for Megan Thee Stallion, I love Rocksteady. That was her submission for Rap Performance. I do love Rocksteady, but if anything, I would have just submitted Bigger in Texas across the board. I feel like Bigger in Texas would have been a better submission for Rap Performance. She did submit it to Rap Song, you know, as she should have. But and Rocksteady with her and Flo Milli is cute. I love that song, but I feel like Bigger in Texas would have probably had a better shot at a nomination compared to Rocksteady. But whatever. And for Tyler, Creator, I love Darling I with him and Tizo Touchdown. I love that song, love the video. But I feel like I would have just submitted Sticky as his submission for Rap Performance. I feel like that would have been a better song for Rap Performance. You have, you know, him, Glorilla, Sexy Red, Lil Wayne, all going crazy. It's a banger. To me, that would have made more sense for his submission to Rap Performance. I don't know why he submitted Darling I. Darling I is cute, but if anything, Darling I should have been submitted to Melodic Rap and put Sticky in Rap Performance. I don't understand that, but whatever. Moving on to other categories quickly. Best Music Video. I don't know why Kendrick submitted Luther as a submission for this category. If I were him and his team, I would have submitted Squabble Up, which to me is the more interesting video anyways, and I feel like that would have been a better representation for, you know, submitting a video to that category compared to Luther. Luther is the biggest hit he has this cycle, but Squabble Up I feel like deserves some recognition for this category. You know, he has TV Off and Rap Performance and Song. He has Luther. I feel like why not give some love to Squabble Up in the form of some music video, where I feel like that's where it should have shined, because that video was so interesting and so dope, and it kind of feels like it's like a cousin to the Not Like Us video. So I don't know why he didn't do that. Luther is cute, and I get it. Karina Evans, I get it, but if I were him, I would have submitted Squabble Up. And lastly, I mentioned it before, but Kali Uchis submitted her Sincerely album to Best Alternative Music Album, which does not make any sense to me. I feel like she should have submitted to Best Progressive R&B Album or Best R&B Album. I feel like her album fit better in the R&B lane, not alternative lane. And I feel like she would have had an actual much better shot at a nomination in one of the R&B categories as opposed to alternative. That doesn't make sense to me. And sonically, I don't understand why she submitted it to alternative. It's not really an alternative album, but it is what it is. So it's unfortunate because I feel like Kali Uchis won't get any nominations this year for her really great album. Whereas I feel like she would have had a shot if she properly submitted to R&B, one of the R&B categories. But it is what it is. I just feel like across the board, like I feel like everyone's submissions this year were like just not well thought out. A lot of artists submitted their tracks and projects in random places where it didn't make sense, and it really threw off, I think, the nominations this year. A lot of the nominations, I think, just look weird because a lot of artists didn't properly submit in the right places, in my opinion. I think, in my opinion, this has been one of the worst years for submissions I've seen. Like, so many artists just you know, threw whatever at the wall and say, okay, we're gonna submit this to that, and it just doesn't make sense. But, you know, it is what it is. Hopefully we'll still see a lot of good things happening with nominations and wins regardless. But I really do wish a lot of artists rethought their submissions in the categories that I care about. So, but let me know what y'all think about that down below. The last thing I'll talk about quickly is just like my overall thoughts on nomination predictions. I do predict at this point, I forgot the number in my mind, but I do think Kendrick Lamar will be the most nominated artist this year, as he should be. He had a major blockbuster year. I think he'll show up throughout the general categories, the rap categories, pretty much in every category. Probably other ones, you know, like pop, maybe music video. Like, so I think he'll have a great haul this year, and I think he most likely will end up being the most nominated artist this year, but somewhere between like maybe 7 to 10 nominations, I think. So I'm excited for him. And I also think Big X the Plug will have a really nice debut breakout year at the Grammys this year. I think he'll hopefully get Best New Artist, or if not that, at least several other nominations in the rap and country category. So I think he'll definitely have a nice haul. I'm predicting him to be a surprise juggernaut this year in terms of a new artist getting a lot of nominations. I think he'll be that person this year. I could be wrong, but I feel like Big X the Plug feels like that person this year to me. Especially since with him having a lot of love in different genres and different audiences. So I think that'll happen. And I think we're going to see some cool history being made this year with multiple artists of Asian descent being nominated in the general categories, namely Record of the Year for Apata by Rose and Song of the Year by Golden, by the Huntrix Crew. And I also think they'll show up both in Best Pop Duo / Group Performance as well. So I think this might be the first time we'll have multiple Asian artists being nominated for general categories in the same year, and at the same time in the pop category. So I think that'll be some cool history that I'm predicting will be made as well. So let's see what happens with that. Shout out to all my Asians out there. I also think when it comes to Best Pop Duo / Group Performance, I think we're going to see a showdown between the soundtrack songs. Of course, Apata has a great chance to win, but I think the winner will end up being either Defying Gravity or Golden. So I think one of the soundtrack songs will end up winning, which I think this might be one of the first times that's ever happened in Grammy history, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, y'all, those were my nomination predictions, and those are my thoughts on who I think will be nominated and who's in contention for the 2026 Grammys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Right after this video, I have screenshots like I always do every year of my full list of my predictions with my final picks, my alternatives, and my long shots for each category that I care about. So definitely go check that out after this video. And yeah, let me know what y'all think about my predictions. Let me know who y'all are predicting, who you guys are rooting for. Who do you think will be nominated? Who do you think will be snubbed? Who do you think is going to have a great year before the nominations come out? Let me know. I'm excited. The nominations will be coming out on November 7th. Like I said, I will be in Japan at that time, so I probably won't be able to get a video out to you guys as soon as the nominations come out, but I definitely will get one to you guys later in November. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens this year. Let me know your thoughts and who you think is who's gonna be nominated. Let me know your thoughts on my predictions, and yeah, I'm excited. So let's start a conversation down below, who you're rooting for. So all right, y'all, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'm gonna see y'all soon. Thanks for watching, but for now, I'm signing off, baby. Bye, y'all. Peace.
You came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. I came to vibe. You came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. Relax just a little bit. You don't gotta worry, you can just